In this video you'll learn how you can recreate this render using Blender. If you're interested in the 3D file, you can find it on xrpage.com. I'll give you the link down below in the description. Add a plane to your scene and scale it on the x-axis. Now press Tab in order to enter edit mode and press Ctrl R. Select this edge and press G and Z to move it. Select these two edges and press F on the keyboard. Do the same thing also on the other side. Repeat it also on the bottom. Go to Object, Apply and Scale. After that, go to Modifiers, add an Array modifier. Go to Generate and find Array. I changed the factor and I've used the 1 as a value. Add a bevel modifier, and that's the reason why I've applied the scale before, because if the scale is 1 on all the 3 axes, the bevel modifier will work correctly. Now add a cube, scale it and put it aside. After, apply a bevel modifier like before. Duplicate it and place it a little bit below. Add another cube and scale this on the 3 axes. Change the shape until you got this result. After, press Ctrl R2. Move on the y-axis the 2 edge loops. Now add an array modifier like before. And I've also used a bevel modifier. Go on Object, Apply and Scale. After that, change the segments and amount of the bevel modifier. Now I've added another array modifier. And I've changed the factor to y, and I've used something like 20. Now you can press Alt D in order to duplicate the element, and after press G and Z to move it below. Now you'll see how you can recreate the phone model. So change the dimensions of the default cube. I've used the 0.1 for the Z axis, 2.42 for the X axis, and for the Y 1.16. Press Shift D to duplicate the element and change the Y to 1.08 and the X to 2.34. After that, select these 4 edges and press Ctrl B on your keyboard. The inside model will be the screen of the phone. Repeat the same operation with the bevel also for the external cube. After that, select the internal part, press S and Z. Now you can apply a boolean modifier to the external part and select the inside cube. Press Convert to Mesh in order to apply the modifier. Delete the inside cube and press Shadow to Smooth. Now select these edges and press F on the keyboard. With Alt D you can select all the edges. Delete the faces of the bottom part and also here press F on the keyboard. Now select this edge and press Ctrl B to add some bevel. And do the same operation also for the rear of the phone. Now select these 2 faces and press I on the keyboard in order to insert a face. In order to add some details, extrude a little bit some face loops. Add a cylinder to the scene. This will be the front camera of the phone. I recommend to you to switch to wireframe view, and after that just use a boolean modifier and select the cylinder. Now press Shadow to Smooth, and when you go to edit mode, by pressing Tab on the keyboard, select this face, press Shift S cursor to active. In this way you can add a sphere. Press Shift D and press I on the keyboard and delete the inside part. Duplicate the ring and scale it down a little bit. Now press Shift D another time of the bottom part. Select this face, switch to global, copy the Z location and paste it. After that, insert another face. For creating the volume speaker, I've used a cylinder with an array modifier. After, I've added an empty object and I've used a mirror modifier. Change the axis from X to Y if you are in my case. And after that, add another boolean modifier. For creating the details that you can see all around the phone, I've used a cylinder and I've deleted all these faces. And also these 2 vertices. After, move one side. After, select the other and press F Now you're able to extrude by pressing E on your keyboard. Press Shadow to Smooth and Object Set Origin to Geometry. Now you're able to use this 3-dimensional object for the boolean modifier like I've done for the power button and the volume button. In this case, I've converted to match the phone, and after I've scaled down the 2 different buttons. The material of the screen of the phone is this one. I've used an image node texture, and I've connected the color to the base color and also to the color of the emission. I've set the strength 1. Also the metallic and roughness are to 1. In the case that you don't know how you can apply this material on the screen, just open your image. After that you've opened it, as you can see it's not displayed in a correct way. So press Tab, go to the UV editor, select the image, go on the Z-axis, go on Wrap Faces and press Project from View Bounds. Not finish it, because as you can see if I stay here, you see a little bit of orange. To fix that, go here in the UV editor tab and scale down a little bit. So as you can see now, it's not displayed the orange issue. The material on the side of the phone is this one. So there is a texture coordinate, a mapping node that has on the Z-axis 0.08, a Voronoi texture that has 1000 for the scale, 15 for the details, 0.4 for the roughness, lacunarity to 2 and randomness to 1. After there is a color ramp that has 0.6 for the value, and for the second value 0.8. The principal node that has metallic to 1 and roughness to 0.4. I've used this material, black with metallic and roughness to 1. The hole for the camera has a similar material, this time the roughness at 2.3. And this node is a glass with a transparent with a mixed shader that has the factor 2.5. Inside of it there is the sphere that has metallic to 1 and roughness to 0. And these other 2 rings that has the same material of this circle. The white material that I've created for this kind of floor is this one. So there is a texture coordinate with a mapping node. I've used it on the y-axis 20 for the scale, with a mask curve texture that has 0.1 for the scale, details to 15 and dimensions to 0. The 2 values that you can see in the color ramp are 0.65 and 0.8. The mapping node is also connected to a noise texture that has the scale to 87 and the details to 2. After there is a bump node that has 0.2 both for the strength and also for the distance, that is connected to the normal of the principal node. The material of these colorful triangles is this one. There is a texture coordinate with a mapping node that has the scale to 0.2. For the base color, there are 2 mask curve textures. I've used 4D for the mask curve texture because when I change the color, I change the W value. The scale is set to 1.3, the details to 15 and the dimensions to 0. After there is a color ramp that has this green value. After I've used a multiply node that is just a mixed color set to multiply, with another color ramp with a slightly different green, this one, and a mask curve texture that has the scale to 0.1, details to 15 and the dimensions to 0. For the bump node, I've used this noise texture that has the scale to almost 1000, the details to 2 and the lacunarity to 2. The bump has both the strength and distance to 0.2 like for the white triangles. This element is just a scaled cube, so I've used this little node setup, texture coordinate mapping, gradient texture and color ramp for the color of this glass BSDF, and for the normal I've used a bump with a wave texture and a color ramp. After that I've used in the mixer shader a transparent BSDF for the first value and a gradient texture rotated on the Z-axis with a color ramp as a factor. These glass panels are created with a glass BSDF with a UR to 1.25 and the value to 2. The lightning is made with a sky texture that has dust to 10 and strength 2.5, both the randos are set to 0. And I've also used a light here that has the power to 9000, the size to 7 meters. The spread is set to 0.5 and in the shader editor I've used by clicking on use nodes, a nice texture with the values that you can see, with a color ramp and the emission to 4. That's all for this video. I hope that you found it helpful. Subscribe for more and see you all in the next one.